The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 74.
74.
And what is our topic today?
This is Deadly Sins, Sloth, Lust, and Gluttony.
Cool. So part 3, our last of this series.
This is the last of the series, yeah.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, before we hop into that, anything from last week, part 2?
I do. I have an email, actually. We had talked a couple weeks ago about our friend Elaine, who I thought had been listening already, and so now she's a new listener.
Cool.
And she sent us this email.
Okay.
And so I wanted to read it to you. It says, "Hi, Samantha and Danny. I just finished listening to an older episode about developing your psychic abilities and wanted to touch base. Thanks for your willingness to put so much info out there. I have always been interested and feel like I have a strong intuition, which I am better and better at following. I will follow some of the steps you laid out in the podcast and will most likely be in touch more for a personal reading and maybe mentoring in the future. Thanks again. So glad to have found you and Danny's podcast. Funny that we met because of our pet sitting jobs and now neither of us is still doing it due to the world turning upside down. Better things have been filling that void. Such a trip."
Yeah.
Elaine.
Wow.
Thank you, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you. That was sweet.
It's funny how things happen, and that's why I wanted to read this, is that her and I both, we did pet sitting before this happened, and now neither one of us do.
Wow.
And it just shows how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
But also sometimes bad things come to make changes that are positive too.
Right.
Like this has been positive for me. It pushed me into letting go of that career and making this my full-time career, doing readings and helping people, you know.
And it's kind of comforting to know that somebody else kind of is going through something similar.
For real.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of a career that not a lot of people do, I would say.
Yeah, it's tough. It's been tough letting it go. I actually did a couple of pet sits this last week just for people
She's having withdrawals.
Yeah, no, you know what? It made me realize, because it had been a while. It's been, March. You know, it made me realize how much I do enjoy now working from home. Right. Being a stay-at-home mom/dog mom.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, and I'm glad that it went that way. So sometimes good comes from bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad that she shared that.
Yes, thanks, Elaine.
I never met her in person and just know her through you.
Yeah.
But I kind of got that impression from her, you know, just her energy that I feel from her through her posts, that she's kind of one of those people that's here for a reason too.
Yeah, she's
to help
very connected.
kind of move us into, yeah, you can feel it from her. So whatever she's feeling, I can definitely say I would agree.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Elaine.
Thanks, Elaine.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
That's it.
Awesome. All right. Well, episode 74, The Deadly Sins, Sloth, Lust, and Gluttony.
These are like the fun ones, really. If you think about it, like the rest of them are like anger and pride, and these are like food and sleep
every time
and
we
sex.
every time we hold up like the bread and we're like, ooh, look, no glutton.
No glutton. Yeah. It's gluten free. Yeah. So let's start with sloth.
Cool.
So what is sloth? Sloth refers to an assortment of ideas, including mental, spiritual, and physical laziness. It's habitual resistance to exertion. And it's funny because when I was doing this research, like the picture that kept coming to my mind was at the end of Dodgeball, Ben Stiller, is that his name? He puts on all this weight and he's like really obese and has like chicken legs on his stomach and stuff. And it totally made me think of that because I don't know why.
He's all bitter.
Yeah, totally. Let's see. So this is the hardest, they say, of the 7 sins to define because it covers such a broad assortment of traits.
Yeah.
Because everything that we do really requires effort. So like true sloth is just not putting in any effort and not doing anything.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, everything in this world, besides what's natural, started with a thought, and it took all that labor and work to create that thing. So if everybody was just, compelled by slothness, I don't know if that's a word, there would be nothing.
No, there would be nothing.
Yeah.
The quote I came across, this is Benjamin Franklin. This is the way they talked back then. I just can't imagine talking like this.
Uh-oh.
Dost thou love life?
Come forth hither.
Anyways, we'll just say, do you love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of. And it's very true, because that's what we have, is we have time. And, our definition of time is different than what the other side's definition of time is. And, I think one of the downfalls is being a human is that we are so time. I don't know how to explain it. Time is a hard concept for us because we want everything right now. And so we don't understand that we need to slow down and let time just do its thing, Right. So then I think what happens for a lot of people is because they don't see progress fast, then they just fall back into this sloth, this laziness if things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like them to.
Yes.
And that can become a problem.
And other things too, if your depression can put you into that mode a little bit, but you're right about the timing and our difference between divine timing, which I think you said was going to be
next week we're going to do divine timing,
which is a great episode.
I'm excited.
Topic, but there's such a difference between our measurement of time and theirs. However, it is of importance,
right?
Because it's not spent, I think, over there being wasted by any means.
Right.
When our perception as little children of what do they do in heaven?
Right.
Are they really just floating on clouds with harps and looking down on us and blowing us kisses? Or no, they're using their time.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else I put here for you. A slothful person is unwilling to do what needs to be done because of the effort it takes to do it. That's true laziness.
Yeah.
Sloth becomes a sin, so to speak, in religion when it slows down or halts the energy we should expend. We should, I don't know, what's right for one person isn't necessarily right for another. But really, I think in this, when it comes to the laziness and sloth, the biggest thing is balance. It's okay to be lazy. It's okay to have days where you do absolutely nothing. It's when it becomes habitual, when it becomes, months or years at a time.
Right.
And there might be a lot of people listening thinking that that's not possible, that maybe you stay busy and you've never had those times in your life. Right. But I've been there. I can tell you, grief will do that to you too.
Yeah.
After my mom died, I just wanted to sleep all the time because it's one thing that covers up your grief, So I slept and I ate. It just kind of seemed to go together, and I got really big and lazy. Right. But grief, like you said before too, depression, it can do that to you for sure. It makes you just kind of want to block everything out. It's not everybody that's lazy is lazy because that's what they choose. Some people are lazy because of the depression or because of the grief or because of circumstances we may not understand. If they have physical ailments and problems that, doesn't allow them to.
Or that they were raised around that's
too.
What they saw, so they didn't learn.
Yeah.
We learn so much from what we learn at those first few years and what we see.
For sure.
We base a lot of that on kind of what we will be on some level, I think, and how it will affect us. But I think another kind of point that you were saying too is that maybe in a positive way, this sloth, attribute or characteristic in a positive way could be embraced, like, say, from somebody that's a total workaholic.
Yes.
And they just won't step away from it. They're obsessed. They're terrified of losing their job if they're not on their mark dotting all their I's and crossing all their T's. And who knows what the job is. They could be a CEO from a corporation or the owner of their own business. But maybe sometimes to embrace that sloth, characteristic and say, I'm going to go take a vacation for 7 or 14 days on an island and just literally be like a sloth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a good, that's a positive, because I think, you know, as the religion calls it, a sin, which we titled this because that's what most people would recognize that for.
Right.
We just really consider these more human characteristics.
We all have these issues.
Or attributes, but
sometime or another.
Yeah, I think that, I don't believe that that's really the issue, but I think that a balance is necessary. And I think that having these 7 things to pay attention to shows us that if you balance, you know, indulging is okay sometimes, but moderation and balance is probably the best.
Yes, I absolutely agree. It was interesting when I was doing the research on this episode, I started having something that hasn't happened to me before. And that was that when I was taking my notes, I started hearing, whether it was my mom or whoever, just saying, we want you to tell your listeners what we think about these subjects.
That's killer.
What the other side thinks, so that they know, because I think a lot of times, like, I'm very, very guilty for this. I will be lazy and I will feel guilty for it because I feel like I should be doing something. And I have to be reminded a lot of times by my mom that sometimes it's okay for me to be lazy, you know, but we think that they're judging us. I think that they're judging me. I know they're not, but that's my mind. You know, I think that when I'm lazy, they're judging me. But really what they want is for us to have balance. Like we were saying, take a vacation, but, you know, don't make it your whole life that you're on vacation in front of the TV with, you know, your chips and whatever.
Right.
Some people don't have to work for a living and can have, you know, one long vacation for life. And that's fine. That's great. But you can still do things with your life. You can still make a purpose, and, you know, it doesn't have to be laziness. You know, I think a lot of people fall into that trap. We had a neighbor for the longest time when we first moved in here, and he's only been gone a couple of years, but, and the whole time that we lived here, we saw him only a couple of times. He didn't do anything with his life.
No.
His mother let him live with her, and then she died, and he got the house, and he never worked ever. And it just blows my mind sometimes to think of, like, well, what was your purpose in your life? You didn't do anything. Like, he was an alcoholic, and, you know, you didn't do anything. You're wasting your life. That's what they don't want to see us do. Right. They don't want to see us waste our lives.
Yeah, I remember him walk, the few times you would see him, he just happened to go by the window because he would walk to the store with like one of those walking baskets.
Yeah.
But what was he? Maybe 50 or 60?
Late 50s, yeah.
Late 50s? He moved like he was 80.
Yeah, he did.
And so you got to look at that and go, wow, man, I don't know what it was like to live his life or to walk in those shoes, but just to know, like, it's a motivation for me to say, well, at least he's being active. Right. You know, somewhat.
For sure. But he couldn't make it far. He had breathing issues. Yeah. And he's not dead. Don't think that that's because we're talking about him like in past
I don't think
tense.
he is.
No, he's not.
Okay. But, I guess, you would probably know that better than I. I still felt like, but you got to do something creative, not creative, but something stimulating for your mind.
Right.
Whether it's creativity or whatever it is. Something to keep yourself busy.
Yes, your mind is very important too, because your body and your mind can both go.
Yeah.
You know, you just sitting around and doing whatever, your brain is also deteriorating. You got to keep up, whether it's like, you know, even if it's games on your phone, like I'm not talking video games, but like brain type games, you know?
Sure.
That helps.
Yeah.
But because you can do, it even said in here when we first started that it's not just physical sloth. It's also emotional and it's also spiritual. You know, sometimes I get spiritually lazy. I just don't feel like doing it some days. It's a lot of work to be spiritual all the time and be connected. And, you know, some days I can wake up and start readings right away, but some days I'm just like, no, And it's okay. You know, it's okay to do that every once in a while.
It's balance. It's what your energy needs at the time, you know?
Exactly. A couple other things that the other side wanted us to know about sloth is that sloth can lead to gluttony. So when we talk about gluttony, think about that because they do kind of go hand in hand, really. And And depression, we talked about this. Depression can trigger the sloth. And sometimes you just need to write it out, and that's okay. And sometimes you might need a little bit extra help, maybe some therapy or something. There's nothing wrong with that. Get a little boost to help you out of that. But the biggest thing that they wanted us to know about this subject is that we are all here for a reason, and it's not to sit around all day.
No.
If you can sit around all day, it's still not what you're here for. Do something with your life. Give back
Because you won't learn anything.
No, you won't. No. So that's what I have for sloth. So
Cool.
Let's move on to lust, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Lust is defined as an intense longing. It is usually thought of as intense and unbridled sexual desire, which may lead to sinful acts such as rape, bestiality, and pedophilia. When I was doing this research, I didn't really want to get into that stuff because I want to talk to our listeners about these things. And when you talk about rape, bestiality, pedophilia, I don't think, hopefully nobody listening relates to that at least, So I wanted to talk about more of what the lust relates to on the normal level, on what humans deal with on sometimes a daily basis.
Because you can lust for, besides, the physical, you can lust for power and money. And
You can, yeah, absolutely. That's, yes, on my list here it says, lust can be about other unbridled desires, such as lust for money, power, and other sinful obsessions. So really anything that you're obsessing over can fit into this category.
Right.
Another reason why I think that this is important and wanted to go that route is because this is something that I think with the other side and with religion and God and everything, that we don't understand the way that they look at sex and lust and that type of thing.
Right.
I think a lot of us, because maybe with religion or whatever, we were taught that premarital sex is a sin or whatever. It's become something that our society views as dirty.
Right.
And it's something that it's hard to talk about because it's portrayed as dirty, and they don't want us to feel that way.
Right.
Like, it would be so nice if you just say, let that guard down. Talk about this. Be openly free to talk about it, because that's really what they want. They want us to experience life and to have those feelings and to be able to talk about them. Lust isn't necessarily bad. I think that there is bad types of lust,
right?
But there's also good types of lust,
right?
I mean, really, love starts with lust if you think about it. Because when you meet somebody,
there's a physical attraction.
Yeah, there's a physical attraction. You don't know that person inside yet. So you can't possibly love them. Right. Like, I do a lot of love readings, a lot. And
which are probably more like a lot of lust readings.
There are a lot of lust readings.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell women, this isn't love. This is lust. Well, I dated him for 2 months and he broke up with me and he was the best thing I ever had and I want to spend the rest of my life with him and he's gone.
Right.
Okay, but it was 2 months of your life. You didn't really know him well. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's lust. Those feelings that anxiety is lust. Love is a totally different type of feeling.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I have. So from the religious aspect, why this is on there as a sin is because of the premarital sex issue. It's simply for the fact that sex is lustful. That's the way that religion looks at it. A lot of religions look at it as
as if it's
procreate.
Only, yeah, exactly. That's the only purpose. And
yeah.
No, I don't condone, children having children.
Right.
When they're not mature enough, obviously that doesn't really benefit. We can see that time and time again.
Right.
That doesn't really benefit the parent or the child if the parent is way too young,
For sure.
It does take some experience and some life and some maturity to really know what kind of commitment that is going to be.
Absolutely.
But, I still don't see that though. I don't see how, we have these emotions. We have this, desires, whether they're sexual or physical.
Right.
And they, meaning the other side, that's probably one of the main things they miss.
Yeah.
Is the touch.
Yeah. Touch and food
and emotion.
There's a few other things.
So, and I've said to you before, when I go, the one thing I'm going to miss the most is water and the touch of the feel of somebody's skin.
Right. Exactly.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the essence of what we are.
There's something about that. Absolutely. I think that when it comes to the difference between lust and love is that lust can hurt you. I mean, love can hurt you too, but lust is a different kind of hurt. It's like when you hurt somebody out of lust, you just don't care.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? When you hurt somebody out of love, it's a different kind of hurt.
Right.
Lust involves a choice and an act of will.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lust versus love. Being in love doesn't exclude lust. Lust is, I need you because I love you, where love is, I love you, so I need you. And I talked to you about this a lot, and I've mentioned it on the show too, is that one of the things for me is with love is that I don't want to need somebody.
Right.
I'm very independent, and I don't think that the word need is really something in a relationship so much. I want to be with you. This is what I want. This is not, I don't have to be here. I choose to be here.
Right. That's
the difference. You know, with love, there is that feeling of, I want to be here. This is home. This is what I need. Where with lust, it's like, oh, I need this so bad. I can't live without it.
Yeah, it's a little bit obsessive.
It's obsessive.
If not a lot obsessive.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will say, I mean, you make a great point, and that is, when you look in this life, as a human and walking in your own body and taking a look at what do you really need? What do you really need?
Right.
Well, you need food and water, and you need air. You do need sunlight. And you would probably need some sort of shelter to not freeze.
Right.
Do you need love? Well, I would maybe debate that one and go, when I look at other animals, other species, and the way that the mothers take care of their cubs and feed them and keep them warm and play with them and teach them lessons, they're giving them some type of attention and love.
Right.
There's a natural instinctual care for this thing, this offspring, which translates to humans as well.
For sure. And
we can see time and time again where children are being brought up in abusive homes and they're not getting love, or parents are abandoning them, or whatever it is.
Right.
It's going to affect them, and then that affects the next generation, generation, and so on, if it's not recognized and changed.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So I think we do need love.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it to stay alive in this skin, but we need it in this lesson, in this life.
And for balance.
Not only do we need to receive it, we need to learn how to give it.
Very true.
We need it to go both ways in order for this life to be successful.
Right.
And you have learned probably that, to me, is if not half or 3/4 of the lesson.
Right.
In all the lessons you're going to learn, the importance is love.
Right. Absolutely. I would love to do a whole episode on relationships.
Yeah.
Because I think that we really could go on and on for days, because there is so much to it. And there's so many different things in relationships. And, you know, one of the things that fits into lust is like, for example, if a married man is looking at another woman, you know, thinks that she's got a nice rack or whatever, right? That could fall into the lust category. And for a lot of women, they get offended by that.
Yeah.
They don't want their husband, their boyfriend, whatever, looking at other women or looking at porn or whatever it is, and they take it personally.
Right.
And it's not personal.
Right.
This is human nature, but it's very, very hard to understand that because, you know, men and women are so different.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I've learned in this experience the last couple of years is just how different we are, and how really the best thing that women can do is try and think like a man, and the best thing men can do is try and think like a woman, because you don't feel the same way.
Right.
You know, women take that kind of stuff very personally for the most point. You know, if, you know, their husband's looking at somebody else, I don't care, because I know that it's natural, and it's not, you know, you're not being like degrading to me or anything. It's not like, you know, whistling at some chick that walks by, but it's perfectly normal for you to have those kinds of feelings and express them.
And I would go as far to say that most of those women that feel that way are doing the same exact thing, and they're not being honest.
Right. That's exactly right.
We have eyes, that's to look at, and we all observe everybody that we see, whether they're short, tall, skinny, fat, big boobs, big buns, buff chest, bald, long hair. We all notice these things.
Right.
Some of us are attracted to some of those things, some of us aren't.
Right.
And vice versa. This is natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unnatural. It's when you're being a fool.
Right, exactly.
That's wrong.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because that was something that I just heard and I wrote it down. Where lust gets bad is when we can't communicate and when we act on those things because we can't communicate. Mm-hmm. So for an example, maybe a man that has a sexual desire that he doesn't feel that he can talk about with his wife. Right. He doesn't feel that she would be open to it. And so he has those lustful emotions, and instead of maybe talking to his wife, he goes and seeks something outside of the marriage.
Right.
These types of things happen, and they're communication issues. Mm-hmm. Where, if the husband and the wife just were a little bit more open about what their desires are, even if it's not something that, maybe they're interested in, but they know that their partner is interested in, having those types of talks and communication can keep that kind of issue from not becoming an issue, if that makes sense.
And kind of keep your marriage feeling fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, again, another way to take one of these characteristics. I think you kind of ended up at a great spot, is to take it and make it a positive.
Right.
So if you're maybe feeling like it's a little stale, or, you know what I mean? It's been many, many years, or
right.
Share with each other.
Yes.
I mean, if it's your spouse.
Yeah.
And if you have been together that long, you know each other well enough. You should be able to share those things intimately. Doesn't mean you ever have to act on any of them or any of it, but you can share.
Yeah, absolutely. It opens up that relationship, because once you let that person in to see what nobody else has ever seen, as far as what your desires may be or whatnot, it definitely makes you more connected to each other in that way too. So learning to communicate about this subject can help in so many different ways. Right. It really can. Because really the lust does get bad when it isn't acted upon, and it keeps becoming a problem. And we watched, I think it was the Jeffrey Epstein thing, where they were talking about how pedophilia gets out of control, and how for a lot of times it's because men will watch porn and then it doesn't do it for them anymore. And so they have to go to something else that's more hardcore. And then eventually this is where they end up. But see, these are all issues that they're not dealing with before. Do you know what I mean? They're just letting it get worse and worse. Right. Where, if you could talk to somebody before or have a relationship that's more open, maybe these things wouldn't spiral out of control. Right. Communication, it really is the key to so much of this communication.
Absolutely. I mean, fortunately for us, I feel like we can do that. We can be pretty open. So when I look at love, I go, well, I know in my life that I need that. Right. And I need to give it. Right. So had you not come along, thank God you did, I would have chose somebody else. Right. Or somebody else would have chose me, because I know that that's what I just need as part of my soul. Right. The lust part of it, when we can communicate, then we still have those feelings for each other. For sure. Where there's the physical attraction still,
and the passion, for sure.
Yeah, the passion, the anticipation, all that. You can still make it, exciting.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. I think when I do love readings, one of the problems that I see the most is people not knowing the difference between lust and love. Whether it's they don't know what their own feelings are, or they don't know if the person that they're dating if it's lust or love. So I made a little list here of things that may help you know if the way you're feeling is lust, or maybe the way the person that you're dating is treating you, that this could show that this is lust. So let me read some of these. Right. You're totally focused on a person's looks and body. That is lust.
That's probably the pinnacle of it.
Yeah. If that's all that you're interested in, that's lust. Yeah. You're interested in sex, but not in having conversation. You would rather keep relationships at a fantasy level and not discuss real feelings. Sometimes people put a wall up too because they don't want to feel. And so, where does that border? They might be love, might be lust. But a lot of times that is a wall too.
Yeah. I mean, if you're practicing this in a relationship, well, that's just selfish too.
Right. With lust, a lot of times you'll feel like the person is perfect. There's nothing that they could do that's wrong.
True.
And when you love somebody, you see their faults and you accept their faults. With lust too, it's like you don't want to show your true self because you're afraid that the person is going to judge you. Where with love, you show your true self because they're supposed to love you for all of that.
And some people just lust after the thrill of the chase.
This is so true.
Or vice versa, being chased.
Yes. It's very unhealthy.
It is.
Yeah. I dated somebody, actually the first guy that I dated after my divorce, and he made me chase, and I did, and it was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous thing. I was like looking at all these things, these lustful things. It was like, I thought that I could convince this guy to love me. And why? I don't know. Because I was chasing and he was running. And that makes you chase more.
Or having some sort of situation where you just know it's not going to happen. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And you still want to just go. And
yeah. Why do we do that? Why do we feel like, if this relationship, even though this person is giving us all of these signs to show us that they're not interested, if a man is interested in you, he will come to you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. He will not run from you.
And the same thing for a guy. If a woman's interested, you'll know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's different. I think, when women are not, for the most part, the chasers, but when they feel like they have to chase, they will. Yeah. I think it's definitely a lot of mind games. Yeah. I'm so glad to not have to do that, Our
courting tactics are interesting.
Yeah, right?
As a species.
They really are. It's very strange. It's like we don't even tell each other the truth about ourselves for a while because we want to suck the other one in. How does that make sense? Yeah. Like I was very honest on my dating profiles and stuff because I wanted to attract somebody that I didn't have to not be myself with. But for the most part, it's like you see that people just, whatever you want to hear is what they'll tell you to get the date, to get the sex or whatever.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, well now what? Now your relationship is filled with lies.
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. Love, lust, it's all very, very interesting.
Yes, it is.
The other side really wants us to know that it's okay to have these feelings, to lust after things. It's okay. If your husband lusts after, you lust after, talk about it. They really want us to know that it is okay to have these feelings.
They're not sins. You're not going to burn in hell.
No. It's all a part of the human experience, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, you do you.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
And balance, again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, let's all face it, when you're at the beginning of a relationship, and you guys are, we'll call it going at it. Multiple times a day.
Right.
Because there's a lot of lust. There's a lot it's a new thing. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That emotion, it comes with the adrenaline and, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're saying is that's what they miss.
Yeah.
And to be able to follow that up with touch and intimacy. So there's nothing wrong with us. That's what God gave us. These bodies to experience all that.
Exactly. This whole, premarital sex is a sin. And,
Is it a good idea? I don't know. But, it depends on how young you're talking about.
Well, right. It does. But, I'm one that I just think, you got to test it out before you buy it.
Absolutely.
I hate to put it that way,
yes.
but you have to know that you're compatible in that area and that it works. And I feel sorry for people that, don't have that experience ever in their life, that they, get married and that's when they have sex and they don't feel any of these things because these are strong emotions and they are emotions that as humans we're supposed to feel.
Right.
We're supposed to get our hearts broken. We're supposed to have, pregnancy scares or whatever because it's all a part of life. It's all a part of the journey. It's not something, there is bad lust. There is bad lust.
Yeah.
But I think in this, they wanted us to know that there's also okay lust as well.
Right.
You know?
And even, again, like for the money or the power.
Yeah.
That anything that will consume you to the 10th degree.
Yeah. Balance.
Is not good. Yeah. It's the moderation. It's the balance.
Moderation, balance. Yep.
If you want to strive for the money and the power, that rank in your job, that's nothing wrong with that.
Right. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
And you can do it.
You can do all of this, you can have everything that you want, really.
But everything comes at some price.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Shall we move on to gluttony?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Because gluttony's about food, and I love food.
Nom, nom, nom.
This was probably my favorite one out of all 7 to put together. I don't know why, it just was. And I did find that this was also a subject that for the other side was very important, not just because of like gluttony, in itself, just being overweight. Our society is getting, progressively fatter. Really, I hate to put it that way, but we are.
Yeah.
And it's doing more and more damage to our society with these amounts of foods, the fast food places with their supersize or whatever. We're doing damage to ourselves and we don't realize it because this is what we've been taught.
Right.
And so I think, in this, the other side wants us to know that moderation, again, is important. So what is gluttony? Gluttony is overindulgence and overcompensation of food, drink, and wealth. So why is gluttony a sin, according to religion? If the excessive desire for food causes you to withhold it from the needy, it is considered a sin. Which is an interesting, I don't know.
Right.
I
couldn't, when I think about that,
greed,
I sit there picturing myself standing on a street corner with a sandwich and seeing this poor, hungry person next to me and denying them half of my sandwich.
Right.
Which I could never see myself doing.
Right. No.
But maybe there are people.
I don't know. It's just a weird.
That think that, that go, screw him. It's he ended up there because by choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not giving him my food. Well, then yes, I think I wouldn't call it a sin. Because I don't think you're going to go to hell for thinking that.
No.
I think you're just putting out that negative energy and you're prolonging this world from getting to a place that we keep wanting somebody else to come fix our problems. And when we do something wrong, this is from a religious standpoint. We want somebody to come along and fix our problems. And then when we do something wrong, we want to blame some other entity for the reason we did
devil.
that. Mm-hmm. Yes. Or saying Christ is going to come down from the clouds and, ascend upon us all, and he's going to fix everything and change everything. Well, that may be correct, but maybe the terminology and the translation is not.
Right.
So maybe meaning that we have to get up and do something with our life, like what they're saying here.
Right.
And we have to change it.
Right.
And that's through our energy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Make a valid point. So let's see. What are some signs of gluttony? I like this list because I can check off most everything on this list. I don't consider myself gluttonous. Actually worked really hard on
I'm gluten free.
Yeah, I'm gluten free. Okay. Anyways, so the signs of gluttony. Eating too soon and when not hungry. This is tough during the quarantine because I've had to stop myself a lot of times from I know I'm bored. I'm not going to eat. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know. We use it as a time filler.
It really is. And I think somehow, especially throughout generations of society, we've made it a social thing to eat.
Yes, we have.
So whether you're hungry or not, hey, come on over. We'll have some snacks. We'll do this. We'll chat. Everything's revolving around food. And even though I'm not much of a television person, when we go to sleep, I'll sit and maybe watch. We'll watch maybe for like an hour as we're laying there kind of getting tired. And it's like nonstop commercials of food. And I tell you all the time, I hate it because I start feeling hungry.
Right.
And then I realize, no, it's not so much half the time that I'm hungry, it's I'm bored.
Right. It's boredom, for sure. Mm-hmm. Let's see. On this list, eating too much, overindulgence. That's, that goes with all of these things is overindulgence of anything.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for us, but we just do it anyways. I don't know why. I think it just, like you said, it comes with the society. It's like food is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. Eating too expensively. I thought that was funny. I've made a lot of changes to my diet and to our diet, and it is a lot more expensive to eat organic and healthy, and I don't understand that. And that's not what they're talking about here in this eating too expensively. What they're talking about is the little tiny steak on the plate with the little potato next to it that cost you $150. That would be the eating expensively.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while, it's nice to do something. But if you're eating like that all the time, it's like, why are you eating like that? Come on.
Yeah.
It's not that much better.
No. I mean, your portion control, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue.
It is, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see that, certain things were removed from menus, like you said, supersize.
Oh, yeah. They got rid of the supersize.
That's ridiculous.
It really was. I wish that,
there's probably a lot of people that were mad they got rid of that.
Probably. And you know what is crazy is that I used to order that. I've been, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. It's been a problem. I love food, and this is the first time in my life where it doesn't control me. And it was something that with the spiritual awakening that I had to change. I had to learn to eat healthy and to take better care of myself. Because,
you have.
Yeah. Well, one of the things with food is that when it's like junk food and preservatives and all that, we don't think about this, but it weighs us down. And so when you're trying to have a job like a light worker and you're trying to be enlightened, I know it sounds funny, but it keeps you grounded to have that kind of food in your system. I feel like crap when I eat junk food now.
Have your food weighs you down.
It really does. You are what you eat. I always thought that was the stupid saying, but it really is true. You are what you eat, for sure.
For sure.
You were talking about social eating too, and that is so true. Like, I wish that we could get away from that somehow. I mean, kind of like with the corona, you can't go out now as much and eat, at least not here. The restaurants aren't open.
Right.
But it's like, I remember one of the times that I got my heaviest, I'm only 5 feet tall. And I told myself I would never get above 200 pounds. And in my life, I did it a couple of times. And there was one time that I got over 200 pounds. And I remember that it was because of the social eating was a part of it. I would eat lunch. And then like an hour later, a friend of mine would text, hey, let's go to lunch. And we would do this multiple times a week. So I would have like 2 full lunches, Of course, you're going to put on the weight, you know? Sitting in front of the TV and eating dinner too, they say is bad for you because I don't know. They say it makes you eat more when you sit in front of the TV, like you're not paying attention to what you're eating.
Right.
So, I don't know.
That's true. I could see that.
Being a picky eater is a part of gluttony because you should just eat whatever. I'm
going to argue with that on some things, but
for sure. Let's see. Eating too eagerly or too fast. See, this list is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a speed eater.
Yeah, if you've ever seen The Simpsons, the way that the family eats, they're just, that's me and my family. My brother's the same way. I don't know why we were raised that way, but you can start I'm finished with my dinner before it looks like you've even started a lot of the times. Yeah. I'm trying to slow down. Like, I've corrected a lot of bad habits. That is one that's hard because I don't catch myself until
I think when we first were together, I wasn't sure if it was my imagination or because I like to chat. That's what's in the title.
He does.
But, so I was like, maybe I talk too much at meals, and I realized no, and I just realized it last night because Marina had some girlfriends over after we went down to the Grove, and we came back later and had pizza in the evening, and we both pulled out one of those cheesy stick things, and we were talking, sitting at the table, and I took a bite, and then you took a bite, and maybe I looked away or talking about something, and all of a sudden I noticed you have like an inch left. I'm like,
it's literally gone.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even watch you. You didn't skip a beat.
I didn't chew,
I don't know if you chewed it. I don't know but yeah.
I don't know. That's all I can't justify it.
You have dropped a lot of weight, especially with giving up the soda has caused that a lot.
Yeah.
But
there were a lot of things that, I feel like I have to be an example for people because I can't preach this if I don't practice it. And so I want to be that example. I want people to see I was fat and unhealthy and ate fast food constantly. For 10 years, I had McDonald's oatmeal and coffee for breakfast every single day. I don't do that anymore. But you know what? One of my secrets is that I didn't try and do it all at once. And I think that we try, we're like, I'm going to go on a diet and I'm not going to eat anything. I'm just going to have salad and chicken and tuna or whatever.
Right. I think moderation should apply to even when you're tackling tasks. Because if you go at it too hard, too quick, you're going to fail or give up But just for the record, folks, I've never pressured you about it. I prefer the chunky. I like it.
Yeah, no,
you
would prefer me with more weight on, probably. I don't think you really care, but if you had it your way.
I don't.
Yeah.
I love you no matter what.
So yeah, that's definitely not it. I'm not trying to lose weight for that. I really didn't even try. It was just that my mom made me change things in this process, and getting rid of the soda and getting rid of a lot of the carbs and the sugar and everything. It just naturally did that. I was very worried going into the quarantine because I stopped walking dogs and that was my exercise. And then, I was walking every day anyways, but then it got hot. And so now I'm not. And I was so worried about putting the weight back on, but I've learned now how to eat better.
And your skin's changed.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All of it. I don't have the blackheads that I used to. There's a lot of things. If there's one thing that I could go back and change about my past, I would go back and I would not eat fast food. I would not drink soda. I wouldn't start any of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I know now that a lot of the health issues that I've had through my life have been related to what I've eaten. I have chronic migraines. And so now I know which foods cause migraines because I have a migraine preventative. And if that doesn't help, then I know that I ate something bad that made me have a migraine. These are things we need to listen to with our bodies, and we're not taught to do that.
Right.
We're just shown all this processed food and this is delicious and what they are.
Yeah.
But your body too, once you detox from that stuff, it doesn't want it anymore. I don't want any that processed stuff.
And
makes
you
me so
feel
sick.
worse. Yeah. It's funny. I'm old enough now that I've seen my friends have kids. I've had my own kid. Family members that I know that have had children. And more times than none, I've seen these kids eat healthy until they're old enough to have solid food, right?
Yeah.
And then they have that burst McDonald's French fry.
Oh, yeah. That's all it takes.
And then kids don't want to eat as healthy anymore.
Yeah.
Giving them that taste of that young, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
I'm so glad because Marina hates McDonald's and all that stuff.
She doesn't drink soda or anything. That's great. Yeah.
Just water.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
No juice, no soda, just water.
No, and it's the best thing for you.
And she has her whole life. I mean, she drank milk when she was younger, and juice once in a while, but she still didn't like it.
Yeah.
Just water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, let's see. Where were we on this? So here's a good question. We like food. Why are we like this? Why do we like food so much? I mean, not everybody, obviously, but there are a lot of us that, could fall into some of these gluttonous type things.
Sure.
Well, first of all, food is everywhere. And like you said, it's social. It's available. It's like, I got nothing else to do. I'll just go grab a bag of chips and whatever.
Right.
Or what are we going to do tonight? Well, we could go out to eat,
Right. I mean, you hear it in slogans like Slim Jim, feeling a little bored, snap into a Slim Jim. I mean, and that's the answer to all the problem.
Right. It
Just
is.
shove more food in your mouth.
It is. Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was, a young teenager or whatever, and going through the changes as a teenager does. And my mom told me that when you have your period, women want chocolate and meat. So I was always like, gotta have chocolate and meat.
That's great.
I don't know. Weird things your parents tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Also, comfort foods actually do work.
Yeah.
Like, we call them comfort foods because they're delicious and they make us feel warm or whatever. But you know what? They actually that level of carbs and the refined sugars, they release serotonin. And serotonin is what makes us happy, makes us feel happy.
Right.
So even if it's for a brief moment, it still gives us that high feeling. There's a lot of things that do that. And that's one of the things actually with opiates that happens is it raises your serotonin. So that's one of those feelings like you get with food. You can see why it's habit forming.
Yeah.
Because it does feel good, but then it drops you, you know, and then you don't feel like that.
Yeah, the crash is not good.
Yeah, the crash is no fun. Let's see. Anxiety. Anxiety is a big problem. Anxiety and depression when it comes to food. Because a lot of us we eat our feelings. It's very, very common. You know, how do you stop that? It's self-control, but it's really hard when you're in one of those stages, you know, and you're feeling that anxiety and depression. My mom, she's Dutch. My family's from Holland, and so she had this term, Senuwa eating, and Senuwa is nervous. And so she would be eating, she'd call me and she'd be like, I'm Senuwa eating. I can't stop eating everything, you know?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
That's funny.
Stands out. So yeah, just know if you're one of those anxious, nervous eaters, you're not alone. A lot of us do that.
And there's something that our body does, scientifically proven, that, you know, that your stomach will send your message to your mind to let you know you're full. But that takes a few minutes.
Yeah.
So if you eat fast like Samantha, you could eat an additional meal in that amount of time. But just
I'm pretty good with portion control, but yeah.
But your body will do a natural sigh when you're eating. And that is its first sign to tell you, I'm full. I'm good.
Yeah.
But if you give it 10 minutes, okay, sit there, even, you know, chat around the table. You don't have to go anywhere necessarily, but give yourself a few minutes to let that message get sent.
Yes.
Instead of, and I would do this, it's a bad habit of just like plow until I feel full.
You were miserable. You'd be miserable a lot.
Yeah.
You don't do
and
that so much
I'm
anymore.
just so full, and I'm like, ooh. Every now and then it's like, I might wait to eat all day, and something that I've been waiting and dying for, is going to come along. So I'll go way overboard.
Yeah.
This might happen Tuesday night, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go out for dinner.
We're going to steak.
Yeah.
To Morton's.
Yeah.
Which neither one of us have ever been.
No.
But we're like, I want a good steak.
I want a good steak. It's been a long time. And we may be waddling out of there. And you know what? It's okay every once in a while to do that. Because we don't do it a lot.
Yeah, I don't have to do like the 12-ounce filet. I could do just an 8-ounce.
You could, yeah. Yeah. Save room for that dessert.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So
let's see. How to stop the gluttony. Really, I'll be very honest, with all the yo-yo dieting that I've done in my life, end the restrictive diets. Eat what you want in moderation. Don't, like Weight Watchers was the best diet that I think I did, because it did teach me that. It taught me, how to eat the proper amounts. And, then you have other diets that are like, don't eat carbs or don't eat protein. We need it all. There's a reason why it's all out there, but it all has to be in balance, So just learning how to eat healthier is much better than doing one of these restrictive diets. Right. It's better for your body, because the yo-yo dieting is very unhealthy. And I'll tell you what, to the younger women listening, don't do the yo-yo dieting simply for what it does to your skin. Mm-hmm. Because I have some areas that are old lady skin, because my skin has been stretched and shrunk so many times that now it doesn't have the elasticity to go back to the way it was before, because I'm older. So don't do it. Stop it now.
I still love you.
I know it, and I appreciate it. I know that these are things.
Don't bother me.
What?
Don't bother me.
Yeah, they don't bother you. And that, I can't tell you, I wish that there were more men. I'm sure they do, that there's more men that think the way that you do. I wish they would express it to their wives. Yeah. Because it's very hard for us as we get older to see these changes in our bodies, and for our husbands just to shrug it off and be like, I don't even notice it. Right. You go that extra distance to say, not only do I notice it, but I love it. Yeah. It's fine. And that is wonderful. I would encourage all men and women in relationships to do that, because it really is that other person that, you want to, I don't know.
Well, you're intimate. You know what I mean? I don't want you to drop trow and feel like, right, self-conscious and insecure and gross. I don't want, no.
Yeah, for sure.
It's supposed to be pleasant.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. Let's see. Change your environment. that's important too. If you're like always around people that are eating junk food or whatever, and try not to expose yourself to that. Learn to cook healthier and eat better foods. There is a difference between, yesterday we went to the farmer's market and I had an orange that was just absolutely amazing because it was fresh. It was brought from the farm to the farmer's market. There's a difference between foods you get at chain grocery stores and that you can get from healthier places. It is more expensive to eat healthier, but it really does so much better for your body to eat organic. And, I want to grow my own food.
We will.
Yeah, because I know that, these processed foods, the GMO, even the fruits and vegetables, they're GMO, a lot of them, and they just don't taste right. They don't taste normal, Okay, so I had talked about that there were some things that the other side wanted us to know on all of these subjects. So before we finish, I want to tell you what the other side wanted us to know on gluttony.
Cool.
Number one that I felt was most important was don't eat the poison. And I had to analyze this for a minute after I got this message. Yeah. What do they mean by don't eat the poison? Well, they want us to eat in moderation, but they do want us to stay away from processed foods, from the food coloring, the additives, the,
processed sugar.
Yes, absolutely. All that stuff. They want us to stay away from it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's see. If you can hear panting, I apologize because
we have a needy lab.
Very, very needy. He doesn't understand. We're recording at night and we don't normally do that. And I think it's throwing him off, but he will be fine, won't you? Okay. So let's see. What else they want us to know? Smaller portions.
Yes.
Smaller plates can help with that. Just getting smaller plates. Because we have, I love the small paper plates as opposed to our normal, dinner plates that are bigger because it is a smaller portion.
You tend to want to, we got to fill the plate
fill
up.
It.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you have a smaller plate, you don't, you're not eating as much.
That's why when we go to buffets, I'm always, I can't wait to go back. And then I'm usually done after the first one. I'm like, who am I fooling? I can't do this.
What is up with that? What
I'm not getting my money's worth.
We went to the Rio buffet for my birthday a few years ago in Vegas, and we had so much food between the two of us, and we just sat there and looked at it because we were full. It's you want to eat it all, but you can't. It's not healthy too either. You feel like crap the rest of the night. But
that's funny.
Anyways, something else they want us to know was to avoid the bargaining. So, for example, I'll eat this whole cake, and then I'll go to the gym afterwards.
Right. Or vice versa.
Right, exactly. No, eat a slice of the cake and go for a walk, or whatever. But it shouldn't be extreme. It shouldn't be, I'm going to fill my body full of all this sugar and everything and then, work it off that way.
Right.
Balance and moderation.
Yeah.
And the last thing on my list is what we put into our bodies affects us inside and out. It really does. Staying hydrated, making sure you drink enough water. I know a lot of people that don't drink enough water and they feel like crap. They're tired all the time. If you're tired all the time, if your skin looks bad, if you have dry skin, dry hair, all those things, it's because of what you're eating probably. And because of, you're maybe not getting enough water, enough vitamins. This is our temple. It's our soul is inside of it. We're given this body to get us through this life.
Yep.
And we have to, it has to come with us the whole way. So we have to keep it healthy and fill it with things that keep it going instead of the crap that maybe tastes good. It's oh man, I wish that an orange tasted good as those McDonald's French fries or that chocolate cake or something, but it's just not the way it works,
Or the Disneyland churro.
Oh, well, you gotta go there. Because I'm not going to Disneyland for a while.
Because I just want to watch you melt for a minute.
Oh, yeah. That is true. But yeah, so just be careful what you put in your body.
Good.
It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, you said something about what they wanted to share about all of this. Was that just
those were the different things? Yeah. With each thing, I just heard a few different points that they wanted to make sure that I made, and I felt it was important to say it from them because again, they don't judge us. We are our own judge and jury. So, they're not saying don't be fat because that means you're ugly, because that's not true.
Right.
It doesn't matter what size you are. You can be 100 pounds or 500 pounds. You're still beautiful. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But you need to be healthy in this life so that you can do the things that you're here to do. And they want us to know that that's what it's about. It's not about what you look like. It's about how you feel. It's about how your body does in this life, because some of us are prone to things like heart disease runs in my family. Mm-hmm. Every woman in my family has had heart attacks and strokes. And I don't want that. Right. I don't want to go out that way. I don't want to deal with that. I want to live my life, and I want to be happy. And in order to do that, I have to take better care of myself.
Yeah.
You know?
You want to be able to get around and see some things.
Yeah. I don't want, like, I'm active now. I want to be active as long as I can be, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
For both of us, for everybody, it really should be of importance. And, you know, moving a little bit each day, making sure, you know, if you have a sedentary job, that's hard. I can't imagine sitting behind a desk all day where, you know, if you have snacks and,
oh God,
yeah, it's like, well, of course it's going to be hard, but, you know,
yeah, when working in the cubicle life, when I did that for a number of years, and, you know, somebody was always bringing in hey, there's something in the break room.
Great.
You know, all the time. It just was, and working in the grocery industry, same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something in the break room. It was always something. And there was times where, you know, I was intentionally trying to lose weight and I would just have to say, nope, not gonna, you know.
It's hard.
But it was, you know, it helped.
Oh, absolutely. It really does. Just having that willpower and the baby steps. Like I said, just taking one thing at a time. You don't have to do it all at once.
No.
You know, if you're a soda drinker and you want to give that up, you know, give that up, and you don't have to give the other things up right away. One at a time.
Yeah.
You know, baby steps.
Take it easy on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. We're all human, and we all have these things. All of these things we battle with. All 7 of these things that we've talked about over the last 3 weeks. Most people battle with at some point or another, if not on a daily basis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are all human. They are not sins. You're not going to hell for
And if somebody says they don't, then I don't believe them.
No.
That's person.
No. I'm sure, you know, we all have differing degrees. We could put these in order of which ones are the most, you know. The gluttony and sloth is probably the hardest for me. You know, where for other people that might not be so hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for all that work you put into it.
I like to do it. I like to learn this stuff and, you know, share.
It's enlightening, too.
Yes.
When you sit down and talk about some of these things, and some of them seem so everyday.
Yeah.
But when you really start to think about them, it's enlightening.
It is. I used to get upset with the people that preach to me about food and stuff like that. And now here I am, and I'm one of them, because I truly, truly believe that we have the ability to change our lives in any way that we want.
Yeah.
It's just about our minds.
I agree with you. Awesome. Well, before we say goodbye, do you want to share your page?
Yeah, let's do it. So you can find everything that you need to know on my website, SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. And then for our show, if you'd like to email us, you know, show suggestions or comments or questions or anything, our email is spiritualjoneses@gmail.com.
Cool. Do it.
Yeah, and you, sir?
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook, and for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, at Gypsy Brown Music for Instagram, and at Gypsy Brown Band for Facebook. That's it for me.
Yay.
Well, we hope you guys got something out of this one and the series.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed the series.
And go about your life and don't feel guilty if these things come into your life. Just acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Their presence and what they can do to you and for you.
Exactly.
And you'll be probably better off.
Valid point.
You know, so.
Very smart, sir.
I got something out of it.
Yeah, good.
It's nice to talk about some of these things sometimes.
I think so, for sure.
Well, we hope everybody has a good week.
That we do.
And until next week, peace and love.